guys, welcome back to Woods Trading Fishing. We're here on Lake Guntersville today. We are going to do grass fishing today. So Guntersville is obviously known for all types of different grass like eelgrass, hydrilla, milfoil, all kinds of submerged grass. So we'll be throwing things like chatterbaits, worms, and jigs. Try to put something together. Stay tuned.
Let's get it.
On a chatterbait, not a big one by any means, but catching a few, kind of few and far between. That one's on a green pumpkin shad jackhammer. Same one Luke's throwing, just a different trailer. It was on a Reaction Innovations little dipper. So here we go.
Fish out of the trailer.
Yep. They're eating it. Little jackhammer.
Dude, what a double. Oh, geez.
Well,
Dude, come show the camera. Get up here. Look at that. He might be 4. Ooh.
double up right
Double,
here.
good one. Both on the jackhammers. Almost immediately.
It may not matter the
Good
color because
Yeah.
you got one white with a paddle tail.
One's green pumpkin shad. And this
With a
mine's just
straight
like
tail.
a straight tail. Oh, you want to throw some in the box?
Yeah, let's do it.
I bet.
Here we go. Chatterbait.
the show, buddy. Another one. Fun.
I'd like to have most of the videos just talking to the camera and like showing them moves, kind of like protecting better. We're catching a few on my old wacky worm. We're seeing a bunch of fish swimming around chasing brim. This time of year, the brim start spawning, and man, the bass get in there and eat them. Moving very easy.
Dang, I thought he was this big. Jeez, yeah, he scared for a second. On a little net bait Senko, 6.5 inch or 6 1/4, something like that. Ooh, something chasing bait over there.
Yep.
Nice one, fun one. Digging. You just ripping it up and down?
Another one on the chatter. No big ones, but they're fun. This one was on a Bee Height Delight color. Seeing a lot of brim swimming around, so I figured I'd try it. It's got that same reaction innovation as a Little Dipper on there. Just a good little brim imitator. That's what Garmin has them priced at. So if you get the bundle, then you're saving $1,100. But if you're getting separately, then it's full price.
got one too.
Me?
Yeah, 4 pounds.
Okay. 4 pound? And we're catching all y'all's fish, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a healthy one. A little double. I'm gonna show him the camera. I might throw him in the lure. Another one. On a little weightless Senko. Nice little double.
Yeah, look at that. Second double of the day.
Yep, they bite. We'll chunk them in here. We'll just get, if we can get another 3-pounder, we'll get a.
All right, guys, so that's a wrap on the day. So we caught a lot of fish up shallow in the grass, and you know, there's a few different baits I just want to talk about of what we usually throw this time of year on Guntersville in the grass. So number one, you know, as you can see by watching us catch fish, you know, in our last video and here, a chatterbait was a huge player. Now, the main one that we throw is the Evergreen Z-Man jackhammer. So usually, you know, I'll throw a 3/8 or a half, just depending on how deep I'm fishing or if there's a lot of grass. If there's a lot of grass, like at Guntersville, there's a lot of grass, so I mainly throw a 3/8, and that's what both Luke and I were throwing today. So when it comes to the chatterbait, there's really 3 colors that I like. And it all depends on what the bass are feeding on. So here you've got a white, this one in the middle is called Bee Height Delight, and then green pumpkin shad. So really, if they're feeding on primarily shad, I'll go with just a straight white. I will throw a Reaction Innovations Little Dipper in white trash, just a little paddle tail trailer. I'll put that on there, so just a straight white combination. So there's one rigged up right there. So that's if they're feeding primarily on shad. If they're feeding, you know, primarily around brim beds, you know, fishing, you know, the brim spawn, and that's what they're eating, I'll go with the Bee Height Delight color. It's got a little bit of chartreuse, basically just green pumpkin chartreuse. Got a little bit of shad color in it, but you know, that's when they're feeding on brim. So that one, I'll put the same type trailer, just a Reaction Innovations Little Dipper in Shiner color. It's got like a kind of a brown on top and a shad color on the bottom. So let's get a good mix. That's these right here, Shiner. That's a great color. I'll throw that on a lot of different, like same thing with this green pumpkin shad. I'll put that Shiner trailer on there. It's just a good match. But when I throw green pumpkin shad is usually if, you know, maybe I'm starting out the day, I don't know exactly what the bass are feeding on. Maybe they're feeding on both brim and shad. This is, if I had to choose one color that I'd go with, and I know Luke would say the same thing because that's what he throws, it's green pumpkin shad. So it's just kind of the best of both worlds. You kind of mimic both brim and shad. So like I said, I put that Shiner color on there. So it's just a good little match right there. 3/8 ounce, like I said. And most of the time you're throwing it up shallow. You're kind of keeping your rod tip up when you're feeling grass. You want to keep that rod tip up and kind of tick it. And if you get hung, snatch it real hard. And a lot of times the fish will bite it on the snatch. Now today, we were kind of having to just a steady retrieve. It was pretty simple. And then, you know, if it's free of the grass, kind of stick your rod down and slow roll it. So the slower is usually the better because that makes it more of a natural swim. And that jackhammer, it thumps so hard, which is, you know, hence the name jackhammer. that's why they called it that. It's just because all you do is just barely reel that thing, and it thumps really hard. So just a great way to cover water, and you know, they bite it. So if I had to choose one bait, that would be the one. But you know, when it slows down, a lot of times, and we caught a few on this today, just a weightless wacky worm. This one here is a Zoom Slinky, really just a 5-inch stick bait. So, I mean, every company makes one, and honestly, I haven't found a bad one. Some of them may be heavier, may sink faster than others, depending on how much salt is in it. But you know, this one is just a green pumpkin blue, but just standard green pumpkin works, or any natural color, anything just to imitate a brim. So I put a size 1 Gamakatsu G Finesse stinger hook. This one's got a weed guard on it, but you know, that's just because we were fishing around a lot of grass. So the key though for this is the O-ring. So I use the VMC crossover ring, size 5 is the size that I use. And you know, you just don't lose as many worms doing that. It's got its own little hole made for the hook that you just slip the hook through, and it's elastic, so when they fish try to throw it, it just stretches. So it's not a hard plastic where it rips the worm when one jumps. So it's just a good way to save worms. So and we caught a lot on that today. Anytime you see fish cruising around during the spawn or the brim spawn, a wacky worm is my number 1 choice. So especially when the bite's tough. So it's just a good way to slow down. Another way to slow down, especially you know, maybe when they quit biting a chatterbait, is to just slow roll a speed worm. So this is a Zoom Ultravive speed worm in watermelon candy red. So just, you know, 1/4 ounce tungsten weight with a 3 to 4/0 Gamakatsu round bend hook. And yeah, just a simple Texas rig. I mean, you know, just how you grew up fishing. If you're like me and that's primarily what you threw. I mean, that's how I grew up fishing ponds, just throwing a Texas rig. So you're kind of just slow rolling that thing over the top of the grass, and you know, if you get hung, kind of snatch. Same with chatterbait. Sometimes you can actually drag it really slow, and they like it like that as well. And then also the old monster. You know, if they're really want a slow bite, but also a big presentation, that old monster in plum apple is a really good option. So it's a 10.5-inch worm, and you know, I'll throw that anywhere from a 1/4 to a 3/8 ounce weight, depending on how thick the grass is. So that's pretty much my options for shallow water. Occasionally I'll mix in some other things, you know, like a square bill or a frog if it's topped out, or a swim jig. But you know, for Guntersville this time of year, if I had to choose 3 baits, it would be the chatterbait, the wacky worm, and the Texas rig. So that's my setups there. As far as what I use, as far as setups though, chatterbait, you know, 7.2 medium heavy bait caster is about perfect. Something that has a good bend to it. As far as the Texas rig, just a 7.2 to 7.4 heavy jig and worm rod. You know, you want fast action on both of those, chatterbait and worm. And then the wacky worm, I actually throw on a spinning rod, anywhere from a 6.10 to 7.2 medium to medium heavy. Just depending on how thick the cover is, or you know, if you're fishing around a lot of big bites. But 7-foot medium heavy is about the perfect all-around rod for a wacky worm. So just as far as line goes, on the chatterbait, I usually throw 15-pound test fluorocarbon, 15-pound Sunline Sniper, Sunline Assassin is what I usually use. Occasionally I'll go with the sniper if I want a little bit more abrasion resistance in a 16 pound. As far as the worm, I'll throw a 18 pound fluorocarbon, 18 to 20 usually. And then the wacky worm, I'll actually do braid to leader. So 16 to 20 pound braid to a 12 pound leader when I'm fishing around grass. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And just keep it simple and just try those 3 baits next time you go out.